It was May 3rd, 2043 when I was contacted by the head of the SCP's American Extraterrestrial Investigation Unit.
Dr. Burgess,
He said,
we have a new incident that we think may be related to your research. We want you to head the research team for the investigation.
I specialize in octopus research, which, at first glance, seems unrelated to the SCP. But I was brought into the Foundation's marine biology research teams because of a discovery I had made. My finding was that all the octopi and cephalopods on our planet may actually be descended from a species foreign to our planet. In other words, an alien race. I had found a tiny part of their DNA that couldn't have evolved from any species on our planet. This discovery was hidden from the world while I continued to research it further. Then I was notified of this new incident, named SCP-7936, which had occurred in low Earth orbit, and my usual instincts as a researcher and a scientist kicked in. I ask questions. I ask how things work. I ask why things work. And I had so many questions about SCP-7936 that triggered that craving deep in my bones to solve this mystery. How had all of this ended up in space? Would I finally get the answers to my research and find out if all our cephalopods were indeed a piece of an alien civilization dropped off on our planet millennia ago? It was only a matter of hours before the commanding team and field officers of this extraterrestrial investigation unit assembled a crew with 5 spacecraft to investigate the incident that occurred just above our planet. I was sitting in the mission control center next to the flight crew commander as the ships broke their way through the atmosphere. I went through the brief again and looked through current footage as we waited for them to reach their orbits at their different locations. I put my smart glasses on and my wireless earbud in one ear and spoke to the AI plugged into my arm. "Nami," I said. That was what I named my personal AI assistant. "Show me more clips of captured footage from the public and developing news stories." A video appeared on the lenses of my glasses. It was a video captured by another man's smart glasses as he was looking up at the night sky with his girlfriend next to him. They were sitting on the beach in the dark, facing west, far enough from polluting city lights to have a clear view of the sky. They looked up at the same constellations and arrangements of distant suns that generations of couples had gazed at together. But then, in the blink of an eye, new stars appeared in the sky.
Wait, did you see that?
The guy asked.
There are new stars!
The girlfriend gasped. My AI, Nami, calculated that this couple could see 85 of these new stars in the sky. 85 new balls of light that just lit up as if someone was turning on the switch for a light bulb. All around the world, there had been a total of 352 of these new stars. Except these weren't stars. If you were part of the Foundation, then you had technology powerful enough to see through the insane amount of light that these objects were outputting to see what they really were. They were actually in low Earth orbit, close enough for a spacecraft to reach in a matter of minutes. Nami showed me a news clip on my glasses. An anchorwoman addressed the USA with the words, "Breaking news," scrolling past her on the screen. "The United States Space Force and United States Space Command are currently investigating the strange appearance of supposed new stars in the sky. They are collaborating with space programs from other countries to discover the cause for this. So far, they believe there is no reason for panic, and that the likely cause of these new lights are simply projectors that an unknown organization has launched to confuse the public." Of course, that was just what the Foundation told them to say, and the Space Force wasn't really in charge here. I turned off my smart glasses and looked at the large displays in the Mission Control Center. The display was split into 5 for each of the 5 spacecraft. The first spacecraft had reached a steady orbit and speed to approach the first instance of SCP-7936. They selected blind Foundation staff from around the world as the crew, so that their eyes wouldn't be seared by the immense light output. But our displays back on the ground filtered out the light for us. I took a shaky breath as the spacecraft approached. I had never headed a research team for a mission this big. Was I even remotely prepared for what was about to happen? The thing that came onto screen was a dead body floating in space. It was a woman, gone halfway through decomposition, but the progress of the decay had been halted by the barren and cold conditions of space. And the body wasn't what emitted the powerful light. The source was an octopus that clung to the top of her head. It looked like a typical Staroteuthis circensis, commonly known as a glowing sucker octopus, with its long, alien-looking head and tentacles that were all webbed together like a slimy shower cap on the woman's head. Somehow, the octopus was still alive. Soon, the other 4 spacecraft approached their instances of SCP-7936. These too were dead bodies with glowing sucker octopi on their heads, emitting light powerful enough to look like a star from the ground. The commander said to his own AI assistant,
"Identify the bodies and pull their records."
The robotic voice was broadcasted to the entire room.
Sofia Garcia Hernandez, caretaker from Lima, Peru, died age 37 on April 11, 2038. Cause of death, drowning in the Pacific Ocean. Leon DuPont, student from Oregon, died age 17 on September 25, 2040. Cause of death, drowning in the Pacific Ocean. Kaito Nakamura, retired software developer, died age 63 on December 2, 2032. Cause of death, drowning in the Pacific Ocean.
And you can imagine how the other 2 went. The room didn't panic, since everyone from the Foundation was accustomed to odd occurrences like this. The gears in my researcher brain were already turning, so they had all drowned in the Pacific. My hypothesis so far was that my suspected alien race had genetic engineering capabilities and had programmed the octopi to retrieve bodies and teleport them into space. Or perhaps this alien race was still present and had been hiding in the Pacific Ocean under our noses this whole time, using their octopus army for a mysterious purpose. But we needed to collect more data before forming a concrete hypothesis. The commander next to me said to his crew,
"Determine if the instances are safe to collect."
After some analysis, the team determined it was safe. They all used mechanical arms to capture each of the instances in containers with coatings so black that they absorbed any light that hit them. The containers were brought onto the ships, and it was again determined safe to bring the instances to Earth to our terrestrial research facility. The gears in my brain continued to turn as I waited to see the octopi in person. What was the reason that this incident had occurred? And what were the mechanisms in play here? I knew I would find a clue about the creator if we dissected the specimens. The creator always left some sort of footprint in the design of their creations. The recording devices within the containers on the ships reported that the SCP-7936 instances stopped glowing as they entered into our atmosphere. Clearly, the specimens could detect once they had left orbit. When all 5 spacecraft landed, our containment specialists went to work. They transported the instances into our facilities and performed a few tests to make sure it was okay for the indispensable personnel, aka me and my research team, to come in. I went into the lab room where they had contained Specimen 1, which had been identified as Sofia Garcia Hernandez. She and her octopus were strapped to a metal operating bed, no longer glowing and now surrounded by my team's equipment and 2 containment officers that remained for safety precautions. 3 of my research assistants were behind me, carrying tablet devices connected to their own AI assistants to take notes. All of us wore special protective sunglasses in case the octopus decided to start glowing as bright as a star again. "Nami," I said to my AI assistant, "record initial observations. Name Octopus as Section A of Specimen and deceased body of Mrs. Hernandez as Section B. Section A appears to have typical characteristics of a Staroteuthis circensis. It is alive, with eyes that are semi-responsive to surroundings, and maintains a firm grip on the head of Section B. It has stopped emitting light at the moment. Section B appears to be in a suspended state, where decomposition has halted after possibly 2 days after death. Signs of water damage confirm death by drowning." I grabbed a small rubber stick and asked the containment officers,
Is it safe to touch?
Yes, sir.
They responded. I gently prodded the octopus with the rubber stick. It looked at me, but did nothing else. I probed it harder, and it tightened its grip on Section B's head.
Section A responds to physical contact by tightening hold on Section B,
I noted. Already, the possibilities were forming in my head again. Perhaps someone had programmed this octopus's behavior, making it want to stick to its host no matter what. They wanted to ensure that the octopus was internally motivated to accomplish its mission. Whether it was aware of its mission or not, I wasn't sure. I wanted to figure out the mechanisms of this genetic engineering and how such a small creature could emit so much light. I took 2 sterilized swabs. I swabbed one against the decaying skin of Section B and swabbed the other against the skin of Section A. The octopus moved its eyes but didn't flinch. I dropped the 2 swabs into a nearby machine.
Nami, analyze cellular and chemical composition of samples, and I want to get our X-rays and scanners in here.
As Nami was sending out commands to other assistants in the building to bring in the scanners, the octopus began to gently glow. We all took a step back, and I shielded my face to prepare to be blinded, knowing that even these special sunglasses weren't enough to protect us. But the glow never intensified. I lowered my hand from my face and saw that the octopus would glow, then stop, then glow again, and stop again. It was at irregular intervals. It would stop for a few seconds, and then flash for only a fraction of a second, and then next time it would glow for a whole 5 seconds.
Section A, baby. Panicking?
I said out loud from my notes.
It's glowing at irregular intervals. The cause of it is unclear. I don't think it's irregular,
one of my assistants said.
Look, I think it's a pattern.
I watched the glowing sequence, and my assistant was right. There was actually a repeating pattern of flashing. The assistant said,
maybe it's trying to communicate, like in Morse code.
Perhaps the octopus was intelligent after all, or this was another behavior programmed into the octopus's brain. Perhaps it was a message from its creator, set to play on repeat to whoever found it or tried to interfere with it. I spoke to my AI assistant.
Nami, analyze the light sequence.
The AI assistant took some time to analyze the sequence and then responded. The sequence has been recorded. No significance was found in the pattern.
There's no message to it either? Nothing is spelled out?
No message in any existing language has been found. No existing language, I thought to myself. It was likely some message in the language of the alien cephalopod race. More and more clues were pointing towards this alien civilization being highly advanced, and that made me nervous.
We'll find out more when that cellular and chemical analysis completes, and we get those scans,
I said. The scanners are arriving now, Nami told me. Researchers from my team opened the door and wheeled in the mobile X-ray machines and scanners. They positioned the first scanner above the specimen and began setting it up. Little indicator lights and control screens lit up on the machine. Then suddenly, the light from all the devices and light bulbs on the ceiling were sucked into the octopus. Beams of light, like ghosts leaving the bodies of the devices, were sucked straight into it. Even beams of light from who knows where were sucked in from outside the lab room walls and pulled into the octopus. We were plunged into complete darkness. Not even light from underneath the door was visible. The octopus was no longer glowing, so I had no sight of the specimen. That made me way too uncomfortable.
Nami, turn on my flashlight!
Your flashlight is currently out of service, it replied. I shouted to the containment officers.
Hey, we need some light in here! We need visuals on the specimen!
Our lights aren't working!
They shouted back at me.
Shit! Display cameras in the other labs,
I ordered Nami. I needed to see if the other specimens were interacting or communicating with the specimen in this room. The light displays on your glasses are inoperable, it replied. I cannot display the video feeds.
Can you get any readings from them?
Yes. Instances 2 through 5 of SCP-7936 have absorbed the light from all devices in a 1-mile radius.
What the hell? I muttered. Can you get the readings on the specimen here?
There was a pause, and then Nami spoke to me. The specimen is no longer detected in the room. The other 4 specimens are also no longer detected.
You mean they're gone? Where the hell did they go?
They disappeared, Nami said. They weren't detected exiting the rooms. I'm connecting to global AI networks to locate the specimens. We must have scared them, I thought to myself. The X-ray machines must have looked like a threat. So they took what they needed, the light apparently, and left. I suppose we could have been more careful, but some things we can't prepare for. You've received a message from the commander, Nami informed me. The 5 instances of SCP-7936 have returned to low Earth orbit.
Show me.
Your displays are still inoperable.
Shit.
One of my assistants said.
Let's get outside where we can actually see, damn it.
He found the door in the dark and we all followed him. We made our way through the pitch-black corridors. My brain did its usual thing as we stumbled through the dark. What if the SCP-7936s had somehow harnessed the energy of the light to teleport? They had sucked in the light all around us right before they vanished and reappeared in space, so it made sense. What if they were planning another teleportation? Once we made it outside, it looked like everyone else in the building was outside too. My AI assistant could actually light up my displays again, and I could see the videos of the 5 instances of SCP-7936 back in space, along with the other dead bodies with octopi on their heads. The commander of the flight crew and the head of operations for the mission came up to me in a hurry.
What happened in there?
They asked me.
Why are the specimens back in space? They all sucked in the light,
I explained.
and then they just teleported back up there.
The commander added.
They're all flashing up there now. Does that mean anything?
Nami spoke in my ear. They're continuing the same flashing sequence.
They were flashing like that in the labs,
I explained.
I think they're trying to communicate something. Are they talking to us or someone else?
The head of operations asked. As I bit my lip and contemplated the question, Nami spoke to me again. Dr. Burgess, cellular and chemical analysis is complete.
Not now.
I snapped at it, but it continued speaking anyway. The chemical and cellular composition of Section A suggests higher extraterrestrial influence than any cephalopod you've previously studied. The specimen contains molecular and atomic structures unseen on Earth, and there have been alterations to the DNA that surpasses current human capabilities in genetic engineering. Now Nami confirmed all my suspicions. Well, it wasn't confirmed to 100% certainty, but SCP-7936 could indeed be communicating with its alien ancestor race. Their lights were definitely bright enough to reach far, far away. I shared the news with the team, and everyone began shouting at each other. Should we destroy all instances of SCP-7936, they asked. Should we mobilize space forces to prepare for an alien attack? Should we try to decipher the messages and learn what this alien race was trying to say? Should we find them before they find us? They were arguing and panicking, and the lights were still flashing thousands of miles above us, possibly reaching out light years into the universe. It was only a few hours later when our team had been transported to another nearby facility with working lights to continue arguing about the best course of action. My AI assistant suddenly displayed a telescope's live feed of space. Everyone's AI displayed the video on their glasses, and we froze in horror. A massive spaceship had appeared in orbit around the Earth. The entire thing was glowing, dim enough for the human eye to look at, but still dazzling in colors. It had appendages that reminded me of tentacles, each glowing their own unique color, with light and energy swirling around the tips.
They're here,
I whispered. The aliens I had been researching for so long had arrived. I didn't know whether to be blessed by their presence or fear for the future of the entirety of humankind. The telescope's cameras zoomed in and showed each SCP-7936 flying towards an opening in the spaceship. They entered the ship, still carrying their dead bodies, which looked so minuscule compared to the size of the ship. I examined the ship. There was no trace of any windows to give us a glimpse of the aliens inside. I needed to see them. I had to see who these aliens were. It only took about 15 minutes for all 352 instances of SCP-7936 to enter the ship. We all watched in horrified silence the entire time, our mouths hanging open with awe until the opening of the ship closed. The ship started flashing a sequence of light, just like the octopi had before. But this time, the pattern was different. My assistant Nami said, "The pattern of light seen on this spacecraft can be translated into English and Mandarin. Would you like to translate it into English?"
Yes, translate it!
I shouted at my assistant.
What did they say?
Their message loosely translates into, "Your specimens are satisfactory. Your planet Earth has passed our test and is allowed to continue its existence. Our staff will continue to monitor your species' progress. Please do not interfere with their work. We will return in another 1,000,000 years. Thank you." And then the spaceship vanished. SCP-7936 refers to 352 human corpses in low Earth orbit, which appeared spontaneously on 12/3/2029. The majority of SCP-7936 instances have been connected to certified statements of death alleging a death at sea, typically by drowning. Each instance demonstrates advanced decomposition, halted by a reduced exposure to oxygen in LEO. Instances each hold, or are otherwise attached to, an anomalous member of Staroteuthis sorrentis, which emits higher than normal luminosity via its bioluminescent photophores. The apparent magnitude of each octopus reaches 2.456 at their most luminous, making each specimen visible on Earth in most night skies, indistinguishable from non-anomalous stars aside from their blue-green coloration and the shadow occasionally generated by the corpse's extremities. Exhumation of burial space is expected to contain SCP-7936 instances have produced no human remains. Examination of personal records revealed no abnormalities, though in cases where driver's licenses were recoverable, a pictograph of a star existed alongside, or in place of, the organ donor marker. To hear more stories like this, be sure to hit subscribe and turn notifications on. I'll see you in the next one.